everyone, welcome to the 9th episode of the Mojoverse podcast. I'm Mo.
And this is Joe.
And on this episode, we'll be doing some reviews of Logan and Lego Batman, and guess what? We finished Dragon Age Inquisition, so we're going deep, really deep into spoiler territory, as well as our impressions of the game. Also, make sure you listen to something special we worked on after the end song. So the first movie we're going to cover is Lego Batman. We saw that in theaters. Joe, what'd you think of it?
Well, I've never seen a Lego movie before, actually. I don't know why. So I didn't know what to expect. I thought it might be a little bit childish, but I was pleasantly surprised. Even though the length of the movie was a bit too long, it dragged on a little bit. They added some things that kind of veered off of Batman, but I enjoyed every single joke at least. Like, who thought it would be so cheeky? You really have to know the old Batman movies and the 60s TV show to appreciate most references, and even though I didn't follow them too closely, I didn't read the comics either, but I pretty much understood everything.
Yeah, they even had a little nod to surfing and shark repellent in it too. It was really funny.
That I didn't know about. I would have to say my favorite character, obviously, is Robin in this movie. I wasn't expecting him to be the orphan that we met at the beginning. It's perfect that Michael Cera voices him, and I'm pretty sure my favorite line in the whole movie is "Holy Family Photo Batman."
Well, that also goes with the the throwbacks to the '60s show. They did have all kinds of Easter eggs in it. We're not going to get into all of them, but I really did like that character. It was really funny. But I also liked the voice acting and how they showed the Joker. I thought that was really well done too.
Yeah, speaking of the Joker, I think they did a really good job, like, just simplifying Batman and Joker's need for each other, like their relationship. I don't think kids will understand it too well, but I think they did a pretty good job with something that's pretty dark and psychological like it is today in the newer live-action Batman movies. Yeah,
they did a really good job because the Batman movies can be kind of brooding. You know, like they'll put you in a bad mood sometimes. So it was just really good to get back to the happy, funny...
Very feel-good movie.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Like, they even included Justice League with Superman. They did pretty much everyone from the Batman universe. They even referenced Suicide Squad. Like, This movie had it all. And when I mentioned that they were veering off a little bit off of Batman, it was still kind of funny, like the non-related characters. They had the Eye of Sauron from Lord of the Rings, which was just that, the tower with the eye at the top. Its powers was to spew lava, which was a little bit weird, and it had love for jewelry. So I thought that was pretty funny. And even Daleks from Doctor Who were in this. They were called those British robots.
Yeah, that was neat. When you go into the Phantom Zone, it's just packed with these villains, and they're villains from pop culture, just everywhere. Voldemort was there. It was awesome. And it was just packed full of Easter eggs and characters. And you're pointing. You want to almost pause that scene where you're like, oh, look, there's that guy. Oh, look, there's that guy. They don't give you enough time to actually see everything. And I think that did a really good job of just kind of adding layers to the scene where you wouldn't see everything in one shot, but you'd kind of notice if it wasn't there. It was pretty cool.
I think we were more excited than the kids in that.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the cool thing about kids' movies now, is that they put in so many adult jokes because the adults are bringing the kids. Pixar does a great job with that too, where they'll put in some jokes that kids might not get, and the adults are just loving it, right? So, no, it was really cool. I have to say there was some lulls in the action a little bit, and it did get a little long, but all in all, I really did enjoy it. So we also went out and saw Logan.
This is fairly new, so for those of you who haven't watched it, then you might not want to listen to this review.
Yeah. Well, spoilers is pretty much the theme of this podcast because we do talk about our impressions of the movie and what we think of it. I have to say, I don't know how I feel about it.
We ended up being a little confused on how we felt at the end. It took us a while to just think about what we just saw. And I think I concluded with a little bit disappointed overall. I'm not sure what the timeline is anymore after we've seen Days of Future Past, because I know they wanted to redo a few things.
Because they killed off too many characters.
Yeah, and they realized they didn't do too good of a job of that third X-Men movie.
Yeah.
But then we saw a glimpse of a samurai sword in Logan's room, I noticed, so I guess that means that Wolverine 3 counts as the timeline. So maybe all 3 Wolverine movies?
Maybe.
It's a little bit weird, too, that all movies so far that were related to X-Men were PG-13, kind of, and they decided to make the most important movie, which is supposed to bring closure to Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, an R-rated movie. And I guess they were trying to ride the Deadpool hype train. So I thought that was kind of a bad move. I know they really liked to see the gritty, gory side of Wolverine, and they wanted to explore that, but I don't think it was a good time to do it as an ending with these specific characters that we've grown up with.
Yeah, I think. I was reading the news when they were filming it, and they said, "Oh, there's going to be some reshoots for the new Wolverine movie because they want to make it rated R." And my first reaction was like, "Oh, don't do that." You know, Deadpool was a pioneering movie in the rated R, the superhero, right? And then they said, "Well, now we're going to make we're going to make a Wolverine movie rated R," and it just seemed like they were just following suit. It wasn't a good idea. I'm like, well, they're not going to handle it really well.
The kids can't see how it ends.
I still kind of feel that, though, that it seemed to be rated R despite itself, even though it had some, gory elements that were justified. There were some other ones that weren't.
Did you feel like it was kind of like a Western movie, too? Like, it was just... There wasn't much superhero action going on, and I think that's what they were trying to do, was move away from the usual cheesy superhero type abilities and just go with Logan, the man himself, which is probably why they called it Logan and not Wolverine. Mm-hmm. But it made the movie a little bit long, I find, because they did that, and I was kind of hoping there would be more action.
I was kind of tired when we saw it, and there were parts where I was just like, "Oh, okay, let's go." Like I say, I'm still on the fence about it because there were some parts that were really good. They introduced some new mutant characters too, and they also introduced
I don't know who Caliban is. Maybe people are supposed to know who that is from the comics.
I don't know.
I don't think he was in any other movie.
I don't remember. Honestly, I don't remember.
And by the way, watch the beginning clip of the movie for sure, because they're promoting Deadpool 2, and it was just hilarious. And I'm like, I want to watch that movie instead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that was hilarious because it had, again, all these Easter eggs, and it was really funny. And it doesn't give away anything about the movie. It just... presents the character again, gets it fresh in our minds.
Going to be in the movie, maybe it's just a little joke to get you excited for the movie.
Yeah, he makes a joke about Logan, so I think they might have done it specifically for the movie. So we'll see. It just kind of reintroduces Deadpool as a character, just reminds us that they're working on it, and it was really funny too.
So to get back to the movie, I'd have to say I probably really enjoyed Patrick Stewart the most as Professor X in this movie. You get to see what happens to the most powerful mind when it's suffering from dementia or whatever else illness he might have, because he's at a very old age now. So you really get to see him as frail and old, and it's really depressing, but it was really good. You really see a different side of him.
It was hard to watch, but it was very well acted. It really was.
Speaking of depression, that's probably the main thing of this movie. It's just sad all the way through, and there's not much relief to get you over that. There's some comic relief because there's a few jokes, probably only by Professor X, and then not much else. And I found myself screaming a lot at the fact that Wolverine is so pitiful in this movie. I just wanted him to run fast, stab, be like he used to be. But I guess that's the point, because we find out that, he's dying. For some reason, his mutant healing powers are failing him. I guess he's just not completely immortal, and he can get old, and I guess his powers are failing him. I don't know why. I don't know if that's a thing for mutants.
He does age. He just ages much slower than than the average person because he can heal. So theoretically, he can grow old.
It's safe to assume that because his healing powers are failing, that maybe he's getting metal poisoning from the adamantium.
Maybe. It could be an episode of House.
We see the pus on his knuckles and everything like that, so we see that he's really sick. It was really hard to see him that way, especially because you want him to be the hero of the movie, just kicking butt.
He's epic. So you want to see him be epic.
Yeah.
But
so it was really frustrating.
No, it really was.
And another thing that was frustrating is what happened to all the mutants that we know. It took me some time to realize that scene where Xavier mentions that he remembers what happened at Westchester, and it's an incident that he's really ashamed of. They also mention it real quick the first time we see him, or the second time rather, we see him having a seizure moment when they're at the hotel in a casino, and you hear the news in the background saying that this incident was similar to also what happened in Westchester. So I guess they just want to leave it to our imagination and just think the worst, like what possibly could have happened. I guess he had a seizure. It was his first time. He didn't know, and he killed everybody in the school.
Yeah, I don't know how much I like that, because I'd rather them just kind of say it. Or show it, flashback,
they
whatever. They could have
at least reminded us that Westchester is the place where the mutant school is located.
Yeah. Because
that didn't come to mind as soon as I heard that. For some reason, I just wasn't thinking about that.
That's true. But I don't know if they're going to really explain that at all anymore. I don't know, but
no, there was a big lack of explanation for anything.
Yeah.
Which is weird because there was so much of a lull that they could have filled all that time just explaining to us what happened.
Well, the movie was long enough, though. I can't imagine it being much longer.
Yeah, but it just feels like we needed more closure than that. At least a couple flashbacks, and we can assume from the flashbacks. Like, I don't even know why there hasn't been a new mutant in 25 years. Did they say? Because this is the course that evolution is taking, right? So there has to be a reason why there aren't any more mutants. They have to somehow...
Yeah, I didn't catch any explanation for that. I was wondering the exact same thing. And I read some articles online. I read some articles online, but it didn't seem like they were drawing from the movie. So I don't know. I don't know.
And the fact that everything was based in the United States, I don't know if this problem is secluded only to the States, because they didn't mention that this mutant thing was a global thing. So we don't know if there are no mutants anywhere in the whole world, because that probably would take a little bit more time than just 25 years. I mean, there were just as many mutants as there were people when we saw Professor X show us that with Cerebro. So how did all of those people end up dying?
But also, why are they going to Canada? Like, are there mutants in Canada? Like we're missing.
Safe haven there,
we're missing a chunk of the story that we didn't catch in the movie. But maybe if somebody could help us fill in the blanks, that'd be great.
Like, I did enjoy this movie, just not as much as I would have liked. Probably my favorite scene in the whole movie would be when Laura shows up, but also when Logan's taking the bullets for Laura, and he says, "Hide behind me," and she's behind him, and then she jumps over him and then slashes forward. I thought that was a really cool move. The whole action scene, actually, with the two of them fighting together was really adorable, if you want to say that about slashing and killing people, but it was cute.
The action scenes are really good. The CGI left a lot to be desired. You know, there's one scene where Logan goes through the fence with his car, and then he pulls the fence off, and it was just all CGI weird.
I didn't think that was that bad.
I really didn't like that. And then there were some kind of squishy elements they put in the people when he was hitting them, and it looked a little off at some points, but at other points the animation was really good. So I
was mostly worried about the story. I mean, like, what were that doctor's motivations? Because first they say all the mutants are dead, and I think they're purposely, like, they want to get rid of them, because we saw in the other movies that people were starting to get scared of mutants. So if they got rid of them on purpose, why would they be making more? Like, the people who are against them specifically, why would they want to engineer more mutants? And some that don't respond to emotion, to me would be even worse and more dangerous. So.
Yeah, like, mutants are terrible and they're bad and whatever. Okay, let's grow some more mutants. That was just something weird to me.
Wipe them out and then grow them back. I don't know. That was weird. I don't understand the whole motivation of the enemies in this one.
It's something that I wish there might have been 2 movies. Maybe they could have gotten into the story a little bit. But I find, like I say, there are some things that's missing. But
And they're probably not going to do a sequel to this either, which is upsetting because you want to know what happens to the kids. Like, is there going to be a better tomorrow?
They're probably going to keep going from the kids into the future, but I want to know what happened in the past that led up to this movie, and I don't know.
Yeah, past and future. We want to know what's going on. We need to fill in some gaps there. And of course, I was just in tears at the end of the movie. It was just really depressing. Started with depressing, ended with depressing.
Yeah, so overall, it was a fine movie, but I got to think about it a little bit more as to whether I liked it or not. But okay, so now we're getting into Dragon Age Inquisition. So you were having a little bit of trouble with the controls right away.
Well, I haven't played around with the PS4 all that much. So this was one of my first PS4 games, actually. And I gotta say, I'm not a fan of what they're doing with new games nowadays, where they're trying so hard to make it so realistic that it's just the controls and the gameplay have just become really frustrating to work with, too. Like, I'm a fan of the new graphics, love it that it looks realistic, but I'd rather controls be a little more silly. Like, I want to jump ridiculously high, and I want to run ridiculously fast, and I don't want to run out of breath. Yeah,
and you were saying how the directions, like if you need to make a sharp turn, it takes a while for the character to actually go over.
Heavy,
very realistic physics.
Not as flowy as I would have liked.
Yeah.
But I did end up getting used to it, and I was a little afraid at the beginning that it would be open world as well, because that seems to be something that every new game has now. But I was happy to know that each map is actually pretty secluded. As big as each maps are, every map is its own area, and not all areas even open all at once, so I can't go wandering into an area where I'm not high enough level or I'm not supposed to be doing something, so it's still fairly linear.
Yeah, I thought that was good too, because you would go into that area and they would say these are the tasks you need to do. You can unlock more. There's some side quests. You do them. You can clear the area.
And you can decide what order you want to do things, and you can pick, one area out of 5 choices, but it's still, you have to go in and out of that area.
Yeah, and the main issue that I have with open world games is there isn't like a clear goal. They give you a zillion side quests and you can just go do them. This at least contained you in a certain area, and it let you kind of open world within a certain limitation. Then you go all over the place. So I think that gave you a little bit more of a direct goal to do. And it helped us anyways, because we don't really like open world games. It gave us something to focus on. I really like that.
And before you start this game too, if you played Dragon Age Inquisition 1 and 2, because this is a new console, what you had to do was go online and input all of the decisions that you made, if you remember them all.
That was so annoying.
And you can kind of cheat, so that kind of sucks in a way, because I was very tempted to cheat. I didn't really, but you can pretty much set up any opening you want for the new game. So I hope they figure out something maybe a little bit different going forward if they're going to be making new games, and what happens if it switches to a new console again. Like, if there's some way to import the file. If they have all that information on your Origins account online, why can't they just do that? I don't know why it was just...
Yeah, that was confusing to me.
And
you can
have the
fix
technology, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, if you made a bad decision and it messed up, a character died or something, you can just click, no, I got that right. I picked that.
So it defeats the purpose a little bit of, you get what you get when you play the game.
I can understand why they did it, but it was just weird to me. I don't know.
So at the beginning, I decided to be an elf mage yet
really?
again for the 3rd time. I'm enjoying it a lot, that character. I was told that this time around, mages would be a little bit more well-rounded, which is what I really like. So not just magic, but good at fighting as well. This time later in the game, you get to choose a specialization. So that's why I chose Night Mage, which is a little bit of what I was talking about. This one, you actually get to summon a sword, and you get to fight with that sword. So if there's a swarm of enemies that corner you, and they're really up close, you can't really back away to use your magic or use long-range attacks, and your defense sucks. So the only thing you can do is pretty much do this up-close Night Mage. So I really enjoyed that. It made it a lot easier to strategize as a mage.
Yeah, that was cool because if in 2 you got surrounded by enemies, you had a hard time with that because your defense was so low, right? You can't hit them with the stick you're holding.
I found myself running away a lot.
Oh yeah, just
trying to get into a corner and.
Yeah, but they're chasing after you.
Yeah.
So that was really annoying.
You can't really outrun enemies for some weird reason in this one, especially when you're in close quarters.
Yeah.
I thought it would be awesome to choose a male elf again as my romance for the 3rd time also, because up until now I've chosen Zevran and Fenris for the other games. But I looked up a spoil-free romance guide because I really wanted to make sure that I got it right, because there is no indication in this game. But I was warned against this romance because it doesn't end well with Solus. So then I asked my friends which romance gets me the happy run off into the sunset ending, and I wound up with Cullen. Cullen is an advisor, so the only thing that's a little bit disappointing from an advisor compared to a companion is that I don't really get that meter at all. Like, whatever I say doesn't really matter as long as I hit these key points in the relationship. So it was pretty easy to follow the romance with this one. I kind of surprised myself with how hard I fangirled over this video game character. I mean, I fell in love with all the characters, but he was just something else. Must be the realistic graphics.
Should I leave, or...?
Well, go on. He's strong and adorable and shy, and the romance with him was just way too cute. Like, I loved every single scene with him. I wish there was actually more. And especially the scene, which, well, actually I was a little bit disappointed that my character was the only one that was dressed and sort of leaving while he was sleeping. I'm like, what, there's no cuddles after? Like...
Well, you got important stuff to do.
We're adults. We could spend the night together. Jeez.
No. You're the Inquisitor. You have important stuff to do.
Just rude. Not even tell him. You just sneak off in the middle of the night. But everything else was really adorable. It was a really sweet character. I liked how he was included in all the scenes. Like, once you were in a relationship with him and you were locked into that romance, they made references to that.
Yeah.
So, like, for example, when you were in Orlais and there was a party, he asked you for a dance, so you get to dance with him. Or at the end, which is a spoiler, you're finding out that you're probably going to die, and then he has this just pained look on his face, and then he gives you a hug. So, wow, I thought that was really well done. Also, if you play Trespasser, which you really should,
just play.
It's pretty much like a sequel, like a little 2-hour sequel at the end. This is a DLC. We're in Orlais again, and you have to decide whether you want to disband the Inquisition or not. And then you get to talk to every character before you do this to see what they've been up to. So everybody's been away for a while, and
it does give you a chance to. It gives you a chance to catch up because there was a gap in between Inquisition and the DLC being released. So it's kind of neat to if you we played it right after, but if you actually would have waited that period of time, it would have been a nice reunion with you and the characters, right?
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. So when I went up to Cullen, all of a sudden he's just like, "All right, let's get married." He proposes, and I'm like, "Oh my god, this is awesome!" And then, you know, the only thing that happens is that all of a sudden we whip out our formal wear, and Cassandra is officiating the whole thing. We're still in Orlais, like in a little corner, and then it's like, okay, we're married, the end.
Yeah.
So that was a little fast. I guess I should be happy that this is the first time that there is a marriage and there is a continuation of the romance, because normally you're not really sure what happens to relationships after. And we have a dog. The dog was added at the last minute, so we have a family
showed
dog.
up. Yeah.
He just has a dog at his side all of a sudden, which was really weird because I think there was no other. I think there was just a few Mabari that attack you at some point in the game randomly, and that was it. So there was a lack of doggy in the whole game. So I'm glad they decided to add him in this.
Yeah, like the only time you meet the dogs is when they're attacking you. So yeah, no, for sure. One thing that bothered me is when you watch somebody on Twitch or something playing the game, you see the characters are always talking to each other when you're out in the maps. And that's supposed to actually forward a lot of, relationships with those characters. But we only got, Varric talking to Cassandra twice the whole game, and we didn't have any music, which was weird because once somebody...
weirdly enough, we didn't notice that at first.
But until we did.
There were so many, there were effects, there were still a few people talking, you can hear a few things, so the lack of music wasn't that big of a deal until it was. We actually looked this up and we're like, how come we've only had, maybe about 5 conversations in the entire game?
Mm-hmm. And there's supposed to be this whole thing with Bull and Dorian and all that kind of stuff.
I didn't know you could get the two of them together. So then, at some point in the game, maybe 60 hours into it, when I realized this, I tried to have them in my team all the time to get them to talk, and they never spoke to each other. When I looked this up, I was told that this was actually a glitch, supposedly, where you're lacking music and you're lacking banter. So this was really depressing, because the only reason why I didn't ride any of my mounts, because I also found out later in the game, way later than I should have, that you can have mounts, and I bought every single one. Well, when you ride them, your team disappears, because it would be kind of ridiculous if they start running behind you while you're fast on a mount.
It wouldn't be ridiculous, it'd be hilarious if they did that.
So I can get why they did that, but then it's like you almost have to choose. Do you want to ride a mount to run around really fast, or do you want your characters out and beside you to talk to? Mm-hmm. So I did that, but then they ended up not really talking to each other all that much. Yeah,
that was weird. It was very weird, and nobody seems to know how to fix that glitch. It's the weirdest thing.
You probably can with the PC, but we had the PS4 game, so what can you do?
No.
So that was depressing, because we probably missed out on a lot because of that. I mean, Cassandra and Varric, we used them a lot, so they had a few conversations amongst each other, and you can tell that they're getting friendlier as time goes by.
Yeah. I have to say, one of my favorite voice actors was the actor for Iron Bull. I do have to say, his dialogue was awesome, but also his delivery of it was just
Freddie
great.
Prinze Jr.
Yeah.
I did not know that was the voice for Iron Bull. You did such an amazing job. Every single line was just golden and hilarious.
And also
that came out of his mouth.
His comedy was great too. It really was.
Good timing for the jokes and everything. Actually, he had some of the best scenes too, especially if you chose him as a romance. We didn't do that, but once we found out that we loved him so much, we had to go on YouTube and watch every scene that he could possibly be in.
Oh yeah.
I have to say, I was a little jealous that if you're a male Inquisitor and you're romancing Bull, you get the best video in the whole game, which includes Cullen, Cassandra, and Josephine. It's just... Don't watch this scene, actually, if you're under 18. It's pretty explicit, but it's very funny.
Yeah,
so
it was awesome.
you should go to see this. With the romance scenes in this game, actually, I found there to be a lot more nudity, but the content wasn't there as much as the first and second game. Usually, in this one where you see them kissing, and then all of a sudden it goes to a black screen and nothing happens, and then you go to the end, and the part where you see all the nudity is just the afterwards, where they're just sitting there talking to each other. So I thought that was a weird, different way of doing it. If you were going to up the rating on it, you might as well have kept some bits in there.
Yeah. No, that's true.
Maybe that's just me.
No, that makes sense. It's kind of a weird in between where they get the higher rating, but they don't want to go too far. How far is too far? What do you do? And I find it's hard to strike that balance sometimes. Varric was in this game as well. I have to say he is still my favorite character.
I'm glad he came back. I think they knew that he was the most popular from the second game.
Oh yeah. There was less comedy bits with Varric, but he was still a really good character. It was very well written. I'm not saying he didn't have any comedy because he's a writer in this, and we get to find out that Cassandra
is a fan.
Yeah, she's a huge fan of the
because
books.
She's such a serious character, and these are erotic books.
Yeah, and she just absolutely loves them. But she's getting us to find out what happens in the last book, and Varric hasn't written it yet, and she's just losing her mind. So it was still really funny, but there was a little bit more of a serious element to Varric's character, and I really did like that.
And I think I got a little jealous of myself because, he's still BFFs with Hawk from the other game. And so in this one, you feel like you're not as close to him and you don't have that best friend relationship because he's still saying how much he misses Hawk. So I'm like, that's me, but this
you're still
is
jealous.
Me. And, I still got a little jealous. It was weird. I also want to make a comment on Sarah. At first, I really hated her because she was so weird, and I couldn't understand anything she was saying. Like, literally anything she said made zero sense to me. Not just the way she would say it, but just what she was saying. I never knew what she was talking about. And I kind of get annoyed with people that play pranks on everyone, like those types of pranks. But she ended up growing on me a lot. After a while, I found out more about her, and then I could start really understanding what she was saying. I found her kind of amusing and fun to be around. It was a nice change as opposed to everybody else. The only disappointing thing is that she disapproves of everything.
Yeah.
So when you bring her along and you're trying to be a good person, she just hates everything.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to get her to approve.
She is one of the harder characters to... well, for us anyways, we had a hard time getting her approval up. But she is one of the funnier characters in it. So there was some really good dialogue between the Inquisitor and Sarah.
I can't believe at the end that there was such a huge focus on Solus. Like, I did not see this coming. Spoiler, he's the Dreadwolf, which I thought made it all the more exciting since we talked about the Dreadwolf a little bit in the second game.
That was neat how they brought them together.
Especially if you had Meryl out a lot. Mm-hmm. She would always talk about him. That was a really big plot twist. I had a hard time believing that Flemeth was also Mythal. It's like they just keep piling on names for her, so it's like she's this and she's also this. And I know because there's so much lore on her and because she's so mysterious that it makes sense for everybody to have different names for her. Mm-hmm.
We had a little bit of a something with her, in Dragon Age 2, right at the beginning. We meet her. There's an interaction, and then we were like, "Oh, there's something up with her. There's something.
We see her turn into a dragon.
Yeah,
which is pretty cool.
Yeah, so we were kind of like, "Hey."
Not really sure what's the whole why we had to transport her inside a necklace. Maybe that's going to be revealed later on. It wasn't revealed in this. Not really sure what happens to her at the end with Solus either. She just goes all gray, so I don't know if he killed her and just absorbed Mythal in himself, and the character Flemeth is gone.
I hope not, because that's very well acted. I forget the name of the voice actress. She was in Star Trek, but she's a really good job with that acting.
She's really good.
Yeah.
But some people are thinking maybe she did something because she did stick her hand inside the Illuvian mirror before Solus came up to her. So, maybe we haven't seen the last of her yet.
Maybe.
Morgan makes a comeback in this as well. She's from Dragon Age Origins. So actually they bring back a lot of origin characters, more than the second game I found. An important decision that you have to make at the end is who drinks the well, or what do you do with the well. So I decided to make Morgan drink it. I was too scared to do anything to my character. I also did the Dark Witch ritual with her at the end of the first game, so now she has a 10-year-old kid named Kieran. So I know they couldn't do much with this character if people didn't make that decision. So I guess what they did do was still pretty good. I really enjoyed the fact that they actually bring your Hawk character into this game. I absolutely loved that. The only downside, again, was that instead of importing her into your save game, you had to recreate her all over again. It was really hard to recreate that likeness again because they changed a lot of the game design for your character customization again. Especially I was annoyed again that there was no curly hair option. For some reason it was all short hair and not much else in this one.
That was hard too because Dragon Age 2 had a lot of preset faces, right? And you would pick the one you liked. But in Inquisition, they would actually let you, okay, do you make your cheeks bigger? Do you make your nose bigger? Where do you place the nose in the size of the bridge and your eyebrow, whatever? So I can understand why they weren't able to bring the character over, but you got to be able to make it close, and I find they didn't do that very well.
Some sort of likeness, like tried their best to upload something similar.
Yeah.
I don't know. But at least my character referenced Fenris, so I got really happy about that. But I'm like, again, what is she doing apart from him, and why didn't he come too? Mm-hmm. And then she said she was leaving somewhere else at the end. I'm not really sure. I didn't catch why or where she was going. But Varric ends up mentioning that he's going to go have to tell Fenris that she took off again.
Yeah,
so I feel bad for Fenris.
Maybe they couldn't get that nice voice actor you liked. I forget his name. Maybe they couldn't get him to come back. But it is weird in terms of the story. They could have just said, he's on his way or something like that. I don't know. It's weird.
And I figured that they didn't bring your first character back, the Grey Warden, because they didn't have voices back then. So your character didn't have a voice and they didn't want to add one all of a sudden because that would be really weird. But they do at one point give you a side quest where you could locate your Grey Warden and then you just get a letter in return and you get to find out what's going on with your character. Also mentioned that she was with Zevran, so I'm a little bit happy with that. So at least it gave you a little bit on her. Mm-hmm. I thought the war room, speaking of side quests, you're in a room where you stand over a really large map, and this is where you warp to locations and you select missions, like your main missions and your side quests. I thought it was a little bit weird at first. I suppose it was kind of cool with most side quests. All you had to do was select one of the advisors, whichever one would be best suited in that situation, and how long it would take them to complete that mission. Then you get different rewards at the end. The missions would actually be, the length of time would actually be real time, so they would end up being completed even if your PS4 was turned off.
Yeah, one thing that I found with the war room is that they didn't really give much of an explanation for it. They're just like, okay, go into the war room, and then you have the war table, and then you're just kind of expected to know what's going on. It's really weird.
You have to click around and play around with it.
Yeah, but then we don't know. You click on it and it says send this person. It's like, okay, so we sent them. It was whatever. They never really talked about it until we actually figured out, oh, okay, if you send that, you get certain rewards and which one you need to pick based on what you want to accomplish, right? But even with, sending advisors out to do some side quests for you, you still ended up playing a nice chunk of the game, right?
Yeah. Overall, I think we broke our all-time record, and we ended up with a total of 130 hours of gameplay.
That's it.
So the last game that I put this much effort in was Final Fantasy XII, and I put 120 hours into that. So this is a really long game.
And it can be longer, too. It can be much longer.
There's a lot of side things to do again. You're growing plants, you're making potions, you're customizing your strongholds, you're talking to all your characters again. There's these perks where you can go out and get agents, and that was a little bit confusing, where you can gather agents to come to your cause, and then every time you get an agent, that also counts as you getting a perk, which is a little bonus thing you can add.
And again, they didn't really explain that a lot, so it was mostly trial, error, and a little bit of research too. The Dragon Age wiki was a big help to us in this game.
Yeah, we really had to follow a guide for the romance and everything because it's not just plainly spelled out into the game. And we did the whole game in casual mode too, and it was still really hard. Not only do you not regenerate your health after every battle this time, like you're supposed to in casual mode, you don't have any regenerative health spells. So you can't cast a cure or anything on any of your characters. You're even limited to 8 potions, and you have to split that amongst your whole party.
That was weird.
You can upgrade your potions, but the max you can get by the end of the game is 12. So that's on casual mode. But because we leveled up so much and there were so many things and places to explore, at the end of the game it got a little bit easier.
Yeah, and once you get the hang of the game too, it gets a little bit easier based on like the timing and what you get your characters do. But there's also in every map you can discover these campsites where you can warp between the camps, but you can also rest to get your health back, replenish your potions for free.
They're like checkpoints, and there's actually quite a few within a map. So you have
to discover them first, but once you do, then you can just warp all over the map to campsite, right?
Yeah, so it's almost better just uncovering your entire map first, and then worrying about things that you missed and going to do side quests, just because you can warp everywhere.
And because the game is called Dragon Age, you decided to fight all 10 dragons.
I thought that was a really fun challenge, actually, even though I love dragons and I hate that I had to kill them. But it gives you a nice PS4 trophy. Also, I brought Iron Bull out a lot, and if you specifically bring him to fight a dragon, he gets very, very happy.
He's intense.
He makes a comment. It's really funny.
I find one of my main issues with the game was you would get these weird pedestal things with the skull on them. You look through the skull and you locate these shards, and you don't really know what they're for or anything like that, right? You just
like who put
collect
these pedestals
them,
there and where are these shards coming from?
Yeah, you're mostly collecting them and hoping for the best, right? But a lot of the shards are in some weird areas where you have to go up the hill, but you gotta like jump to try and climb that hill. It's really weird mechanic to do that. I found that to be really hard.
The worst side quest in the entire game.
That was brutal.
It was the longest. There were so many shards in every single level. Area of the entire game. I wanted to murder someone because it's not just like a shard is right there and you just pick it up and it's easy. They purposely put it in hard to reach places. Like Mo mentioned, it's all on top of mountains pretty much.
Yeah.
And the mountains you can't just climb up, you have to jump. And normally I'm pretty good at platform gaming, but the jumping mechanic in this game was terrible. It was broken because there were certain, it feels like they didn't even layer some certain areas, and some areas you can walk up and some you can't, even though they had the same amount of slant and they weren't past, the map. For some reason you can jump there but you can't jump there, and it made zero sense, and they didn't really show which places were textured for you to jump.
And there was also sometimes where you would have to go up this really steep hill, and they give you this tiny little way to walk up, this tiny little path, but your character doesn't walk up that path, so you have to constantly hit jump, and slowly go up there, and then you'll fall down.
I don't know if they intended you to do that, or if you were supposed to go around some other way.
We couldn't find any other way, though.
You can spend hours just jumping around, and all you get is a small little map that's not really zoomed in.
Yeah.
You can't really see the layout as well as you would like. You can't interact with it. The map is basically useless because you can't tell what areas are walkable or passable. It's like there's these, you don't know if you see a forest, you don't know if you can walk through it or if it's blocking your path.
Yeah, and that's an issue with the newer games with the better graphics. Back in the day, I don't like saying back in the day, but back in the day, there would be the background where it's kind of hazy, and you understood that was the background, and then where you were supposed to go was textured. Right, okay, we're going that way now, but you'll see this mountainside, and okay, maybe I can get up there. So you try for 15 minutes to try and get up until you realize, oh, I guess I'm not supposed to be going that way. So you try another way.
Places you go all the way around can end up being really far away from where you're trying to get to, and then once you go there and you realize that you made a mistake, you have to turn back around. Could get pretty frustrating. Also, all you can see are little cave entrances. You can't see where they start and where they come out. I mean, it doesn't say exit and entrance of the same cave. You don't know if they're connected to each other or if it's an entrance for another cave, where it leads to. So that was just really confusing too.
So for the story, I don't really go way into the lore or anything like that, but I have to say I was kind of confused about Corypheus's intentions. I find that he was a little lackluster in terms of a villain.
He was kind of a sucky villain,
Yeah. Like his end game really wasn't clear. He
knew he wanted to be a god, but that was about it.
Yeah, and then they say, I've seen the temples of the gods. So we were like, was he one of the Tevinter magisters? Like, we just don't know. They never really explained it. And then trespassers just makes it even worse.
So I don't know why he had to throw the whole world into complete chaos. Like, why did he need to do that in order to achieve getting through to the Fade and going up to the Golden City in order to become a god? Mm-hmm. Why did he need to blow everything up at the beginning? Why did he need Venatori mages on his side? Why did he team up with the Red Templars? And there's actually quite a few enemies in this game. It's like they bring every single enemy back. You're fighting the demons, you're fighting the Darkspawn, you're fighting apostate mages, Red Templars, Venatori. It's a bit much because then you're getting a little bit lost on how all these stories connect into one. Yeah,
at some point you just end up just smashing your way through the game, and they're bad guys. Who cares? Let's get on with the game. I don't know about you, but I kind of did start losing interest with a lot of the villains. Or like you would just, okay, those are bad guys. Let's kill them. Whatever. And they would say, oh, you killed whatever characters, and I just don't care. They're bad guys.
To wrap your mind around which problem we're fighting when. It could get a little bit all jumbled together. Mm-hmm. But then things start getting actually a little bit clearer towards the end. It's like all of a sudden now we're getting into the overall plot of the story. Like when they start talking about the elves and what happened years ago, you kind of see how everything's connected. We do have some theories going on too now. You get more of an explanation of the Veil, which we find out that Solus created. You get some more information about what happened at the Golden City, the fall of Arlathan, which were the elves, which is important. Maybe the elven gods are all the same gods, which are the old gods. Don't know if that has something to do with the forbidden gods. They were cast down by the Maker and Tomb because they helped the Tevinter mages to reach the Golden City. Or that was Solus's doing because they were mining for lyrium, which was dangerous, so he sent them away. Because he was talking about how he was doing it, not for the good of the elves, but the fact that he needed to do it because they were doing something that was so dangerous or unleashing something dangerous. Will they eventually run out of old gods to turn into archdemons? Because I think they said there were only 7 or 9 of them in total, so I don't know if they're going to finish up with the whole Darkspawn archdemon story. It's a little bit weird that they didn't bring up the Architect again, and if he managed to do what he was supposed to do, which was free the Darkspawn from their calling. We're also wondering why at some point we found out that the dwarves were sort of involved with the elves, that the elves were getting the dwarves to mine lyrium for them, because for some reason the dwarves have no connection to the Fade, so they don't dream, which also means they have no magic, so they're the only race that has no magic. So they're unaffected by the lyrium. Maybe they uncovered deep below that there was something dangerous, something to do with why the lyrium is red. By the way, if you do a quest with Bianca, you find out that the lyrium is alive because it is red. That means it was affected by the taint, which only living things can be affected by. I have yet to finish the Descent DLC because it was really hard.
Really hard.
I think they did that on purpose. because even though we're at, the highest level that we think we can be right now, because there's nobody else left to fight or no more side quests left to do, I think that will give us a lot more clues as to the overall story and how everything connects. Briefly, when we played, they talked about the Titans already. There's this one letter that you can acquire that says Titans are so huge that they have been spending days walking around inside it and they never even knew. So maybe Titans are what the dwarves refer to as the Stone, without even knowing that it's actually a race or monster called the Titans, because they keep referencing the stone like it's alive and how it talks to them and it helps them navigate underground. So they don't worship any gods, they worship the stone. Also, I want to know what's up with Sandal and why he's everywhere all the time, how he can be so powerful and magical, because you always catch him in a room full of dead darkspawn, like he just finished killing everyone. Bodan says that he has a lyrium-addled mind, but we're wondering how he can even be affected by lyrium, and, how much does he actually know, too? Because we do see him in the Vidathari at one point as well.
Yeah,
he was there. He has notes.
Yeah. It was really cool to see a little... there's a little sleeping bag and pillow over there, and you read the book, and it just says enchantments. And we were like, oh, hey, it was pretty cool how they kind of brought that together. I don't know what they're going to do with that in the future, but it'd be neat.
And I think I called that place right, Vidathari. Not really sure if that's
the name
of the place. That word's coming to mind for some reason. Anyway, so I really hope that they make another game. I don't know what they'll start you off as this time, as the main character, because going forward we're going after Solus, because he said that he basically doesn't care if he destroys the world in order to bring back the elves to their former glory. So are we going after him as different characters? Because we also see at the end all of our characters still looking for him, so maybe we're going to help them or join their cause or something. My main character lost an arm.
Yeah, that sucked.
But I'm really looking forward to some answers. I hope, because there's still some unanswered questions from 1, 2, and now this game, so... Yeah.
I don't know if they're going to do one more to tie it all together. They're going to do multiple. They also said that they're going to be announcing a new IP. So I just don't know. Bioware, yeah. So I don't know if they're even going to address it. I don't know. Like, I hope they do, but it doesn't seem like
they're working on something else.
They're working on something else. I just don't want to end up in a Kingdom Hearts 3 situation where we're waiting for 10 years for the new game to come out.
But we need to know what's going on with the Darkspawn and if they'll ever, stop coming. We need to know what's going on with the Red Lyrium.
Yeah, and the Titans.
And we need to know what's going on with Solus.
Yeah, so... let's hope we get our answers eventually, but that pretty much sums up the game, and that is it for the first part of the 9th episode of the Mojoverse podcast. Make sure you keep listening, because we do bring back our Dragon Age experts from the episode 8, and we go much more in depth for Dragon Age Inquisition. So we're going to have a little transition, and stay tuned for more Dragon Age Inquisition talk on the Mojoverse podcast. And we're back with the second part of the 9th episode of the Mojoverse podcast. We want to introduce our two Dragon Age experts.
Kyla Hopkins.
Paulina Timchuk.
So we brought them in again. You might remember them from the last episode. And we're going to really go in depth about Dragon Age Inquisition this time. Last time it was Origins and Dragon Age 2. Now it's Inquisition. So there's a lot to get to. So I was just wondering if you guys could give us a bit of a background of the character you chose, or multiple characters, and which one was your favorite, and why you chose them.
I'll go first, because I probably have quite a few. So I am one of those people that really likes to do all the options, or I try to do it. Some options I stay the same, like I usually always pick mages. But I literally made a character for every single romance option. Okay. So I made 9 in total, but I haven't gotten around to playing them all. But the first one I did, she was a female elvish rogue. I named her Estelle. Originally, she was going to be romanced with Solus, but Cullen with his adorkableness, stole my heart, and then
That's what I said.
yeah, and then the end credits happened, and the spoiler thing happened, and I questioned my choice for a second, but I'm very happy with the first romance I chose because Cullen, he's a chantry boy, he's adorable.
Nice.
And then the DLC, you if you chose right, you got to marry him.
And we were saying that one just kind of comes out of nowhere.
It's
He's like, hey, let's get married. Okay, there's a dog. All right, whatever.
Well, in the DLC, it is stated that it's like, what, 2-3 years after?
Yeah.
So that makes sense, because you've been together for that long.
But we do it right then and there when we're in LA and...
Oh, that makes sense then, because you would have expected to wait.
you're in Hampshire.
Yeah.
For certain characters like Sarah, I would have expected that, because Sarah's very impulsive, but other ones, not so much.
Yeah.
So,
Like Josephine, I would have pictured her wanting a big ceremony, probably in Antiva.
Yeah, probably. My first character, I tried to do Blackwall, but I didn't finish that playthrough, so I might go back and finish it. But I am also slowly working myself through all the different companions. It's been I have so many different characters that
What was the race and gender?
Oh, female elf.
okay.
And the class was
Rogue, of course.
There you go.
Nice.
Because sneaky, stabby.
But yeah.
You kind of you do rogue more often than not.
Yeah, because there's just a lot more advantages to having a rogue initially, so you know where you can go and where you can't. And then, of course, there's other
the
advantages
chests
you can have.
unlock.
Yeah. Doors you can unlock.
We just brought Eric with us all the time.
Something that they did improve on was the fact that in environmental situations, because before it was always rogues that had the advantage because they could see traps, they could pick locks. But now mages have their force thing where they can move things, and warriors can break down walls, which I did like that mechanic.
Certain areas you need to have a mage, like in the first area, the hinterlands, you have to be able to move this blockage in front of an old elven ruin to get into it to be able to finish a few quests.
We're getting off topic though.
I forgot about that though, but that's a good point to bring up, that they basically forced you to have a team of each different class with you when you went out.
That was cool.
For warriors, it was the lyrium veins. You needed a warrior to smash it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. We first encountered that when we were trying to break down a door. And it had a symbol over the door. Like, what's going on? And we just had no idea. But yeah, we ended up having to kick down the door, and that was neat. They really took the mechanic that they had in 2, and they made it a little bit better, and they expanded upon it too. So it's pretty cool. Paulina, you said that you tried to play each romance. Which one was your favorite?
Cullen, right away. I know it's Cullen.
Shush. I didn't ask you. Okay. So this is kind of hard because I haven't got a chance to play every single romance.
Okay.
The ones I have gone through are Cullen, Solus, and Iron Bull. Shush, Kyla.
Now, which Iron Bull? Like, how did you play it?
A female?
You played female?
For most of my ones, I do prefer playing female, except for the ones where you have to be male, which are Cassandra.
Yeah, Cassandra, Dorian.
Yeah.
There's someone else.
But the male scene with Bull, we mentioned that earlier. It's the funniest scene.
It is.
Yes.
It's even funnier if you're a dwarf, because they're literally standing on a little stool to make up for the height thing. But
and it's funny, that's pretty funny.
For most of them, I played an elvish woman because that's my class.
Okay.
But out of those ones, because Solus stabbed me in the heart, figuratively, I picked Cullen. I do like Bull because it's a different dynamic. One that I'm not very comfortable discussing because of the content of said relationship, but it's a different outlook. One that I am looking forward to is which one was it?
You're looking forward to
Dorian's, because for Dorian I made a
albino.
Yes, I made an albino elf.
Nice.
Because I named it Cecil because I'm basing it off of Welcome to Night Vale's Cecil Palmer.
Okay.
For anyone who knows what that is. But yeah, that one I'm looking forward to because Dorian's one of my favorite characters. He'd be like that best friend you would always want to hang out with because he could always help bring up your mood.
And
He ended up being pretty funny and sweet.
Yeah.
Towards the end, so I
and
like
because all the Dragon Age games always continue on from like the last game, you're able to import your world state. I say that the Dorian one's going to be your canon.
Most likely, although Kyla thinks that my canon might also be my one I made with Josephine, because for some reason I really suck at making males usually, but I made Josephine a dark-skinned elvish man. I like elves. Elves are like my go-to class.
Yeah, I know.
But for some reason he turned out looking really, really good. And it's a contrast, and I don't know why. She thought it's going to be my main playthrough. I haven't decided what my main playthrough, like my canon universe, as some people call it.
Yeah,
But,
and that's the hard part. If they do make another game to port over, because they had that weird website where you had to basically make up the you had to make up the decisions that you did. So I don't know how they're going to be doing that in the new game, if there's a new console out even. I don't know, it's going to be weird, and especially if you have multiple saves, which one do you bring over and all that kind of stuff. So
That's going to be the hard one.
You could.
It might be different for each one. Like for my first one, I might do my first playthrough because I don't know what's happening in the game. So I might just use my first playthrough, and then later on, after I see what my decisions did that affected the world, I'll probably pick a different playthrough from that.
Okay, makes sense.
The other thing you can do, and this is the newest feature to their site that I've found so far, is that you can import multiple world states for specific lines of games. And I find that quite useful because I can either have like straight up just the way that they planned it, or I could have like, oh, Zevran is with my Grey Warden, and so I don't really hear from him later on.
Okay.
Are you sure you're not talking about fan fictions?
Very. The playthrough I'm working on at the moment is for a romanced Iron Bull, and if you pay attention, he states that he loves redheads. So obviously my character is a redhead.
Okay.
You guys had mentioned to us before too that if you're what's Sarah's preference?
She likes
Female
Kunari.
Kunari, yes, that's
Female
right.
Kunari.
She'll look at the female Kunari Inquisitor
Initially,
when she
like,
first say wolf.
It's funny.
Nice. It's almost worth playing the whole game again for that.
It is. It's almost worth just to hear it. Like.
So we're gonna do kind of similar questions as we did as the last episode, but it will be for Inquisition. So, favorite platonic character?
Varric.
Dorian.
Oh wait.
Again.
Okay. Besides Varric, I would pick
besides
Dorian. I would pick Dorian because, like I said, he's like that best friend you always want to hang out with.
Yes.
After Dorian, besides for Varric, it would probably be Bull, actually.
Yeah.
Because
That was my pick too.
Because
Yeah, we said
okay,
that.
so here's what I think. Because Dorian is that fun guy that's always going to bring you up, and Bull's like that too. But Bull is also that kind of guy that if you're hanging out with him, no guy with bad intention is gonna come near you.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, they won't even try. They'd be too scared.
That's probably why they're so perfect together then, is because they're both the comedic relief for the game.
Yeah.
Not just that.
And add Varric into the mix.
God.
I always pick. That's why I always pick. My go-to group is always Dorian, Bull, and Varric.
Those three are amazing.
Well,
yeah.
let's address that, because we had the apparently they call it the banter glitch. Did you guys come across that in any of your playthroughs?
No, I've never had a banter.
What do you mean by?
Well, it
You
was
didn't have any.
They
Didn't have any banter?
None at all.
or
Really?
any music in the levels or anything like that.
Oh
Yeah.
no, I didn't come across that.
Yeah, so nobody seems to know how to fix it or anything like that. but-
If you wait long enough, they should put up a thing like if you say banter glitch or music glitch, someone will have found a reason as
Yeah.
to why it's happening. Or BioWare will probably figure it out and then do an
Yeah.
update for the game.
So I was just too bad because we missed out on a lot of really good banter.
Oh
right?
god. Okay, so one banter I really enjoy. I'm getting off topic and I'm sorry, but I don't want to forget it. So if you have after a certain event where if Iron Bull becomes Talva Shock after the Kunari quest with him.
Yeah.
So Solus and him start talking about how Bull is now a rampaging lunatic, basically, even though
Okay.
Solus knows it's not true. But then he says pawn to e4 or something, and they literally start doing a mental chess battle. And at first I thought there's no way this is correct, but someone on YouTube did a board, and every time they said something, he moved the piece, and it actually works perfectly well with the game. And
Nice.
Solus end up winning the game, and it was amazing.
That's awesome.
And that's like my favorite banter ever. Although I haven't heard them all because there's literally over 6 hours of banter.
Well, we got
it
about
depends
6
on the
minutes.
area you're into, yeah.
Yeah, but we wanted, we were looking at videos on YouTube, and we wanted the Dorian Bull
that's the best
relationship
factor.
thing, and you get that with having them in your party and the banter and whatnot. We just missed
You have
out
to
on
talk
that.
to each other, yeah.
Yeah. So what was your platonic character, Kyla?
I would have to say it's between Dorian and Solus, only because the banter between them, and especially if you have like if you have Bull in the party with Solus, the banter, like they team up on Solus, and it's funny.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, that reminds me with the chess banter that they have. If you have Sarah in the party during the final banter, Sarah will say after Solus wins, "King me." And I'm thinking that's not the same game, Sarah. And Sarah's adorable.
Yeah, she is.
I can't have her in my
Anyways.
party too often because she talks too fast. She gets on a lot of people's nerves.
Well, she disagreed with every decision.
That's what we
you
were
made,
saying,
too.
but
It's
she kinda-
really
She
hard.
doesn't
Hard.
like coal. She doesn't like coal, and how can no
Yeah.
one like that precious cinnamon roll?
Anyways,
Yeah.
party-wise, normally I would have the same as Paulina, Varric, Dorian, and Bull. Except when I'm going to fight dragons. Then I have to switch out Varric for Solus because he heals my ass.
Okay. Yeah. See,
Bull loves fighting dragons.
No, Varric. I switched Varric out.
Yeah.
Bull
Varric.
and Dorian and Solus.
Oh,
Varric
Bull's the best. with
Greatly
dragons.
improves of fighting dragons.
Yes, it's so funny.
Especially when you
Oh,
go back
God.
to
Yeah,
Skyhold.
the bar scene after is great.
Does anyone have any idea what they're even drinking?
Apparently it's Kunari ale.
Yeah.
And yet they drink it anyway.
Apparently it's worse than Kirkwall's. Even Varric said that.
Fun.
Actually, a scene that I really enjoyed, and it was because you talk to Varric once you have high approval with him, is when everybody gets together
Wicked Grace.
and they're playing his card game. I think it's one of the very few scenes where everybody's actually together
Yeah,
and
it
talking
is.
to each other, and I wish there was more of that.
Solus wasn't there though.
No, but Solus is being a
Solus,
prick.
for some reason, wasn't there, and
He
then
doesn't
you-
gamble.
Yeah.
Sarah's under the table at the end.
Yeah,
So
drunk.
I think she
who's
saw. I think she saw my man parts.
Your man,
He's my man parts.
Your man's parts.
man's man parts.
I really liked, there's a video on YouTube of Sarah's laugh.
Buttercup, the kitchen's missing all their lard. Was that you?
Yeah.
And it's just so funny to me. I thought that was really funny.
I know. I find her laugh absolutely hilarious because you can tell what she really likes and when she's really pissed off about something too. It just the way that she goes back and forth between the two. It's pretty dynamic the way that they do that.
So, we mentioned in the earlier part that we kind of found Corypheus to be a little bit anemic as a villain. That his motivations weren't exactly clear, and the story fell short a little bit. I was wondering if you guys could maybe talk about that a little bit. Just your impressions of Corypheus.
I think this is like a theory thing that's been going around the fans, like on the fan community. I think that the reason why Corypheus wanted to go back so bad was because there's a lot of things that he wanted to find out and study, not just because of the throne. The other thing that they keep saying is that the blight comes from the Fade initially. So that first game where the blight's everywhere, it's in a nutshell, she came from the Fade because they went there, and so that leads me to think that it's just kind of hanging out in the Fade, in the Black City, which then led to people thinking that it was once a laboratory that the elves kind of, let go of, because Solus sealed it away, and then the blight got out of the laboratory, and it's kind of been rampant since, until the idiots went into the city. I really don't like those guys.
That's an interesting take on that, because they do call it the Black City after. I was always thinking that it was underground, because you're thinking the Darkspawn are coming from underground, but...
No, it's up in the sky. You can see it every once in a while.
So, are we talking about what we believe Corypheus's goals are, or are we talking about how he fell short?
Just general impressions of the character,
He's creepy.
Oh,
Very,
yeah.
very creepy.
The character design was pretty cool.
That's the first thing that stood out to me was his character design, and then when I first heard him speak, the voice acting was
really
on spot.
Yeah.
Well, like most voice acting with Dragon Age it's on spot. It's hard to talk about him because
there's not a lot of character development. You don't really know what's behind him.
But yes, she is right. There wasn't a lot of development for him. We didn't find out a lot about him.
Yeah.
What I do believe the point behind him was he wasn't the main bad guy. As weird as that sounds, he wasn't. He was kind of leading into something. He was basically the foil for what happened, because Solus even said so, that the way it happened wasn't supposed to happen. He was basically, Corypheus was a pawn that Solus was going to use. So I'm pretty sure Corypheus had it in his mind that he was being given this power from a god, so he himself could become this god and bring on the next blight or cleanse something or whatever, not realizing, no, you're just a middleman. You're mine to use and then discard.
Okay.
Which is why his character wasn't so well developed, and why it didn't impact you as much as, say, in Dragon Age Origins with the Blackspawn. You could tell there was this constant threat. But with Corypheus, not so much. Same could be said with Meredith in 2, where she was always cracking down very hard. You could tell something was going on. There was something more to her, and then it just clicked when you saw what happened. With Corypheus, though, no, I believe he was more of a setup for possibly an even bigger guy, maybe someone that's even above Solus. Because I don't think Solus is a bad guy. He's made a lot of bad decisions, and he's broken my Inquisitor's heart. And yeah, but I think there's something more going on. He's just not telling us. And I do believe Corypheus was basically just a pawn that he was going to use.
There is evidence to support that as well. If you find the right there's a place where you can find these papers that's it's written by one of Corypheus's slaves from way back before he ever even went into the Fae for the first time. It's Corypheus demanding that his slave call him Corypheus and not whatever heck his name was. And if you bring that to the war table, there's a quest where you can go through and either have use it for blackmail or have the family pay you to keep it quiet.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, see, the one issue though I have with that stuff is, especially with what Paulina said, it was we learn about Solus and all that in the Trespasser DLC. So a
little bit before the end of the game.
Yeah. But we're playing the game. He's the villain. We don't really get into why he's doing that kind of stuff or how he got it done until you play the DLC, and then they go really in depth with Solus and all that stuff. So it filled in a lot of blanks, but just by going with the end of Inquisition, there were a lot of blanks. We were missing quite a bit. Mm-hmm. And that's when we were just completely confused about his intentions.
Well, it's like they're still not done with the story yet.
Yeah.
They were bringing everything together so that we see some sort of link, and all the enemies were present in this one, but they still didn't finish the overall story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no. On top of that, if blank-wise, you could see in the way that he was programmed, like the way his character moved around and the way he talked, that there was way more to him than he was given credit for. I mean, like where he came from, nobody really knew.
He was a strategist.
Yeah, not just that, but the way he
was a strategist. He was well educated. He was well brought up, so maybe he had. I mean, you can tell from the way he was programmed and designed. He walked shoulders back, head high, slightly elevated, so he's almost like he was looking down on you. So he probably had some kind of either noble or upper class upbringing.
Okay.
So something that people have noticed is that, yes, Solus is the Dread Wolf, and people can make connections to that because of the way he has certain quirks, such as...
the way he walks. It's straight like a wolf's. If you've ever seen a wolf's footprints in the snow, they're not side to side. They're directly in front of each other like a human walks. It's pretty nuts.
Mm-hmm. If you also look, you can tell because usually people lead when they walk with their shoulders, but Solus instead leads with his hips. That's why it's very straight, and he has kind of almost a feminine walk.
Yeah,
a bit
almost.
because of the way he sways his hips while he walks, but that's mostly because it's how
It's
you
elegant
have
almost.
one foot in front of.
See, if I would have noticed that, which I didn't, but if I would have just been like, the animators are being weird with it, you know? I wouldn't have thought that they put that much thought into the character and how he walked and all that kind of stuff. That's pretty cool.
And it makes kind of sense with how much knowledge he's had right from the beginning, too.
Yeah.
How much stuff he knows and how much he knows about the Fade. And I think one of the quests from the second game kind of gave us the idea of what a mage can do when they become a dream walker or a dreamer, or the power that they can have over the Fade, which is kind of dangerous. So I'm thinking maybe that's what they wanted us to know about Solus.
That's true.
That would make sense.
And everything with the mirrors too.
That does make sense.
And they established that in Dragon Age 2 as well. So that it's neat how they make the links and everything like that.
Also, something that a lot of people pointed out because no one saw it coming was the fact that he had a wolf's jaw necklace.
Actually, that was noticed quite a while.
It was noticed quite a while, and people just thought it was weird, but then the end credits roll around, and they're like, why did no one question it?
Yeah.
That kind of reminds me about the cards too. I don't know, like the character cards before...
Tarot cards.
Yeah, when you're picking your party members to go with you anywhere. I don't know if his card changes before or after you find out, but his card has him with a black wolf shadow over him.
You don't find out until Trespasser, and at that point he's not even allowed to be picked as your party member.
You do see the card change though.
Yeah, you do.
Like when you first get into a romance, like with all the cards, if you get into a romance with them, or if you do a certain part in their storyline, their card does change.
That was neat how they did
after
that.
It's after each of their personal quest lines.
Yeah, the Pride Demon, I think the first one is after the Wisdom Demon and the Exalted Planes.
Right. That's his, the first time he ever asks you for your help with something.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's like, please, I need your help.
That was neat how they did that, because it showed that the quest that you did for the characters had a little bit of an impact.
Them.
Yeah, so you see, like, Varric was all happy and everything, and then it switches and he's just sad, and we were like, oh no, Varric's sad.
I don't like that card.
Yeah,
what can I do
sad.
to change depressed
I
Varric?
hate that
so
quest.
Wait, are you talking where he's all sad and stuff?
Yeah.
After if you decided to sacrifice Hawk in the Fate, that's like the worst.
Didn't want to go through that.
Yeah, no. Well, you spent so much time building that character in the last game, right? You don't want to...
That and Iron Bolt quest as well.
Yeah.
With the Chargers.
I can never sacrifice the Chargers. I'm sorry. I love Krem. Krem is like my favorite NPC.
And Krem is also the butt of my favorite joke in any game.
Look, I just don't want you to get burned.
Don't say it.
Because then you'd be... creme brulee! Creme brulee!
Is it because of how he sits on the chair?
Creme brulee.
Creme brulee. Creme de la creme.
Yeah.
A cremesicle. I can go all all day.
Those are the best.
Oh,
I also, my second favorite one is Scout Lace Harding. She's adorable.
Yes, she is.
She has freckles.
So
You
does
can
Sarah.
flirt with her a little
can,
bit.
a little bit, yeah.
So long as you're not in a relationship with anyone, you can flirt with her, which I think is the most adorable thing in the world. And also, if you flirt with her, but don't end up in a relationship, when you get to the Trespasser DLC, you know that part where you go for a spa day with Madame de Fer?
Yeah.
She'll comment on it and say, "Did you ever take that Scout Harding out for a date?"
Nice.
And it's adorable. And
That's good.
and with the ending of Trespasser, and you see she's there with Liliana and Josephine, so you know when they make Dragon Age 4, which they will, because if they don't, I am going
They said
to...
the same thing
They'll
about
be held
Kingdom
to
Hearts
pay.
3.
They making Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah, eventually.
They will, but if they don't, there's going to be major hell to pay, and I will blow a gasket, and I will riot.
There will be retribution.
There will be retribution.
I just said I also like the scene in Trespasser where they were trying to sneak the dragon skull for Bullet. So we had to just waste his time. We would say something. We'd usually, because we had all the arcane knowledge.
Yeah.
Perks.
History
Perks,
and things
yeah.
like that.
So we would say something. He's like, "Oh, that's great." It was just so funny, and the
then-
actor is
And
awesome,
then,
right?
if you don't have the knowledge perks, you can say, "I can't do this anymore." And he's like, "Yeah, sure you can. They've almost got it through." It's like, "Oh, jeez, thanks."
Well, yeah, that happened to me the first time I did, because I had all my arcane knowledges, so I'm doing it, and I'm reaching the last end, and I'm thinking, come on, guys. And then they still have, like, I can't do this anymore. I was like, yeah, you can. They think they've gotten it through the door. But what I'm thinking is, where the heck did the Chargers get a Dragon Skull, and
Yeah.
how did they get it to Val Royu without him noticing?
Probably one of the ones that we fought. They just took it from us. Oh.
But speaking of side characters, though, I still enjoyed pretty much every single character in the game. I like how they brought back Dagna from the second game
First
and
game. The first game. She was in the first game.
first game.
Yes, the first
right.
game.
It's okay.
Yes.
She's adorable.
Yeah, and now she's like this.
She
art
actually, we
famous.
found out that she studied, and she actually got to be a mage, and
Not
she's
just that, but she's actually proficient in what she does, even though she had magic.
she wrote a book, I think, too.
I think so. And if you don't romance Sarah, they get together.
I know,
Really?
it's so
I
cute.
did not know that.
Oh wow.
If you don't romance Sarah, they get together. What's her nickname?
Widows.
Whittles.
Her name is Widows, and it's cute. I always picture Dagna as a little hamster, and Sarah's like, "Oh, you're so cute," and kind of pulling the cheeks. I don't know why, but
Dagna also has freckles.
yes.
I have a weakness for freckles. Freckles are adorable.
I find one of the major upgrades for this game was the battle system.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I was impressed with the battle system upgrade to Dragon Age 2. And we were playing as a mage, right? And then playing Inquisition as a mage as well. And it was another huge upgrade.
It's
It was
amazing.
really good.
I love how they're able to use the staffs as a mage. That
Yeah.
is amazing. Like they're actually like swinging the staff around, and it's not just. Poof,
And even
poof,
to let you
poof,
pick
poof.
to be the Rift Mage, Knight Enchanter,
specialties that we
and
talked
the
about
other
earlier.
one. Yeah,
That's very
that was
interesting.
such a really neat addition to the powers you could have.
I like
Instead of just
how
building
you
it up that
actually
way.
had to go through a trial
To do it,
almost,
yeah.
to actually do it, because I'm like, that makes a lot more sense than just learning it automatically from some guy in a bottle.
Yeah.
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 That was the arcane warrior was very, very weird for Dragon Age 1.
Yeah.
It was very weird.
But yeah, I do like how there was, like, most of the ones I did, I was a rogue, so I would have to go through it, and I was mostly assassins because I like the backstabbing thing.
yeah, again, we're all sneaky back.
But
Yeah.
but yeah, so I liked how there was that whole trial thing you had to go through, because that would make sense, because you wouldn't exactly be taught by someone who just you can't go up and say, I want you to train me, because they're going to be like
Yeah.
Mr. Miyagi.
I know Kung Fu.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. I also liked with the we didn't use it much, but sometimes it was beneficial to do the you go here, like that
Oh,
tactical menu.
Tactics, that
Yeah.
was nice.
We didn't use it much, but it was interesting.
I find it very useful for fighting the big bosses and stuff. If you need them to do something specific, you can make them do something specific.
Yeah.
Especially with the Storm Rider Dragon. Oh my god.
Okay.
Something I noticed with just the commands that you can give them with making them stay at a certain area, that was something I didn't realize till really late in the second game. But in this one specifically, there is a ruin or an elven ruin or something. There's a puzzle you have to figure out where this is. You have to use this. You have no choice. But what I didn't know was you don't. Not only do you have to make them stay somewhere, you have to have
get them all to do something.
Yeah, get them all to do something different, and then be them. Like, go back to actually switching your character. Because that's something I didn't do before either. I always liked just being my character. I didn't like playing somebody else and taking hold of somebody else. But you had to for this one to make them go and pull different levers and things like that.
I think there's one other place you could do that, and that was the Gauntlet in Dragon Age 1.
Okay.
Right,
If that was a
To get
side
to
quest.
Ross's
It was
ashes.
a main quest, so you probably had to. You probably don't remember though, because
There's
it's
the
been
big,
a while since
there's
we played.
the cookies on the side. You have to go straight to open the bridge there.
Right.
Yes. Sorry,
I dragged them over and then I made them stay
Yeah,
put.
pretty much. But that mechanic was pretty interesting in Inquisition. I, like you said, I didn't use it too often either because I found it kind of annoying because I don't like stopping midway through a battle just to strategize. I'm very frontal assault.
But I also don't like not controlling a character, right? You can split them up and then, say go, and then you're kind of watching them do their thing, right? That's kind of weird. But it was interesting. It did come in handy.
It did for some things, yeah.
I'm actually
Secondary
curious
workmates.
to find out who you guys chose as the divine in the story.
My first complete playthrough ended up with Liliana because I didn't know you had to soften her initially to stop her from being divine. I wanted Cassandra to be divine. I wanted her to be.
My first playthrough, I didn't realize it was a thing because I thought they just mentioned it offhand because I didn't do all the quests on the table. So by weird coincidence, Vivienne became divine for
You
me.
didn't use her that much, did you?
No, I didn't use Vivienne too much. Vivienne isn't... I understand her character. She's not one of my favorites, though, because she's very set in her ways.
It's a good character to have.
She's a good character to have.
Yeah, like...
She's a good character.
As a person, she's awesome.
We
but-
ended up disagreeing with her a lot. That's why we got
Yeah.
lucky with Cassandra in the end because all
She's
the
a bit
decisions we
hoity-toity.
made went towards her anyway.
She's a bit hoity-toity, isn't she?
I usually go for a softened Liliana, though, because...
Yeah, I find that she makes a better divine.
Although
than
I
she does.
do not agree with her setting all the mages free. Quite frankly, I don't agree with any of them.
That's true.
Okay, so here's what I would do. If I was divine, here is what I would do. If a child was realized to have magical properties, they would be taken to the circle. However, it would be for their safety. Parents would be allowed to visit them, and they could go visit their family so long as a Templar accompanied them.
Yeah.
Well, after they finished their harrowing, they didn't have to stay at the circle anymore unless they wished to continue their studies. Then they could go back home. And once a month or so, they would go back to a Templar
And report in.
report in, show them, hey, I'm here. I'm not possessed. You're not possessed. You're
I'm not
good.
using-
Stamp of approval. They
I'm
go.
not using blood magic. I'm good. Yeah.
So it's like a driver's license.
That was
Blood magic
basically
was
our
scary
outlook
in that.
too. Is we were for the circle, but the circle did need to change.
Yes, they need to. It needed to be a bit more free for the mages because it's not fair to put someone into prison just because of the way that they were born. I mean, it's like the way that we treated people with skin color, which is just not right.
They would also get the proper education they needed in all forms, not just magic, because let's face it, maybe they want to learn how to pick locks, and I'm not sure.
Well, see, that's what you do. You
That would
learn
be
your
cool.
spells, you learn to control the magic and everything, and that
'Cause it can be
benefits
dangerous.
everybody.
Yeah.
And then you go
Dangerous,
through the
yes.
final trial, which is the harrowing.
Yeah.
Because after that, it's proven that you can't get possessed anymore unless you do blood magic.
And they should also bring back the part where you can come back from the what's that called? With the
Tranquil.
Yeah,
yeah.
there's a way to bring it like to get rid of tranquility from the seekers.
That brings up another good thing: is the Seekers. What did you guys think about that when they brought up the book and everything?
There's so much. Oh my
Okay,
god.
so first things first, I disagree with the tranquility. I only like with taking it away. Because here's my reasoning. I do agree that tranquility is a good thing, especially for mages who cannot, through no power of their own, cannot control their powers and are a danger to themselves and society.
Or if they want to be made tranquil.
Which I don't see that happening too often. So I agree with that. I don't agree with the knowledge being shared that there's a way to reverse it, because if there's a way to reverse it, mages who are like extreme mage rights, like not even just we want to be equal, we want to be superior, are going to say, well, we want all the mages to be undone. And that includes the dangerous criminal mages, the mages who can't control their powers. And okay, so this is going to a book. But there was in one of the Dragon Age books, a mage did go through tranquility, but was touched by a spirit, because that's how tranquility works, and he was brought back. The problem was, because he was brought back from tranquility, he could not control his emotions because he had been without them for so long.
He has to make up for it.
He has to make up for them. So he was hysterical. He was laughing one minute, then crying the next, and he could not find that happy medium. And because of that, he had a hard time controlling his magic. They made it work for a short period of time, but that's why I don't agree with it. That I think that should be kept a secret. However, the ones that were made tranquil with no just cause,
Like in
Kirkwall, that should be changed.
Yeah.
But then those may just get like shipped off to like a different circle.
They also get special help to help them get back to what they were.
They get their own therapist. Also, from reading that, I understand that they become very hysterical after coming out of tranquility. I don't know if they start to even out the emotions, but I think they do. Because if Cassandra had to go through tranquility and then came back, because that's how Seekers work, it makes me giggle, because think about it. Because then she can't control her emotions and stoic.
And she likes Varric's books a lot, too.
So, yeah. Hey, maybe that's how she started.
To the point where she was just happy that she was in a book, even though she wasn't even anywhere close to who she actually was in the book.
Maybe that's how she started to control her emotions, was through like reading, because through reading you can show these emotions, because people are just thinking, oh, she's really enjoying that book, or oh, she's at a really sad part. So maybe that's how she did it.
Yeah. No, that's true. We only got a couple minutes left.
Oh, okay.
So final thoughts, including Trespasser, and a couple things you want to see in the new game, if they ever decide to come up with one.
They need to finish the story. They can't just leave it open-ended and unfinished. There has to be a way to solve this huge rift between mages and people and Templars. There has to be a way, otherwise we're going to be like lost forever.
The only way that could happen though is if there's like 100-year time skip, Kyla, because this isn't an issue that's just going to get smoothed over, especially depending on who you pick as Divine. Yeah. What I want to see, I want to see my characters, like certain characters make certain cameos, because I doubt they're going to bring Varric back for a third time, no matter how much I want them to.
No, he's the King of Kirkwall.
This is...
Oh, yeah.
So, this is what I want. I want companions like Krem. Okay. So, I want different genders happening. So, I want maybe a transgender companion. I want a non-binary companion. I want maybe even one that's transitioning, and that's a part of their character arc that you help them through, which I think would be amazing. I want them to keep the same gameplay mechanics, because I love that. It was very easy to use, although Joe doesn't like how they run.
Well, it's just updated
fix
physics.
The jumping.
Fix the jumping.
I want them to add like the Assassin's Creed where you can like climb.
Yeah,
that would be
like
cool.
A parkour element would be really neat. Yeah.
I definitely want to see what happens with the dwarves, because apparently they lost their magic.
Yeah.
And they're supposed to somehow... Yes, they did.
There is something going on with that and what happened with the dwarves and the elves, how we mentioned that. So
I played Descent.
I really want
need
that.
an explanation.
You didn't see that, though. She shot magic. How did you not see that?
Oh, right, that.
I really do want that dwarf,
Sandal needs to be explained.
I really need that to pay off too. The dwarves, like, is Delirium just like Titan blood? What, like, how does that work out with the stone?
You've been taking Titan blood.
Well, that's what I mean. So it's one of the theories that we have.
It's one of the theories.
Also, I had a theory of in Trespasser when we went to that massive library. It was the dwarves
Is
that
that
were saying.
Sorry, we were kind of explaining. What do you guys think about that?
The library
Base
of
there.
Arlethon?
I want that library.
No, it looks so cool.
Here's the question though: if it's in the Fade, can you read the books, or is it like when you're in a dream and you read a book and the words keep changing?
That's true.
We were thinking that the books
Or
are
if
just
it's
a
like Harry
manifestation of knowledge, so
Yeah.
it wasn't
That
really.
makes sense.
It's
So-
how we perceive knowledge, so it came as books.
So you can't like take a book and read it and suddenly learn how to speak German.
I don't know.
That would be so cool if you could though. Be
Well,
like the
that's getting
Matrix.
into the Matrix. Yeah,
Sorry.
exactly. But I just had a little bit of a theory on that, and I hope I'm right, and I hope it pays off.
All right.
Where the dwarves mention that if they go outside, if they leave the caves, they'll fall into the sky. But I was thinking maybe it had something to do with that upside down.
Because you go
city,
to that
right?
place and there is actually, you can see stuff that's upside down and
And
right
you're
side
walking
up
on
and
it, yeah.
everything.
So maybe they saw people fall off of that, and they fell up. Right, so they kind of stuck them into caves, and they got like crazy about this guy. And so I was kind of thinking that, and I hope. Well, it's my theory, so I hope I'm right. But
I feel like you got something there.
You got something.
I don't know,
sounds
but
like
I just hope something like that pays off. So there's all these little seeds that they have that I just hope they work on that in the new game. If they just released a new game and so like here's a Dragon Age game, they don't address any of it, I'm going to be really upset with that.
I don't picture they will because of how they ended with Trespassers.
Yeah.
With the whole knife into Winter, which I want to see to Winter. I want to see their buildings. I want to see their fashion. I want cuter clothes.
Okay.
I also want to see Ravane and Antiva.
Yeah, I want to see those too, but I want cuter clothes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. They've gotten better.
Yeah.
They have gotten better compared to Origins and 2, but I still want like slightly cuter. Like I want my Inquisitor to wear a dress to the Winter Ball.
Yeah.
But then you can't find that. But I would like to be able to have like better hairstyles.
Yeah.
And, come on,
Dana said
they
the shoes in Orlais were supposed to be amazing.
I know, but you couldn't really see anything. But they definitely need better eyebrows and better eyelashes because oh my god,
The
those
character
suck.
creation was a little rough. I played some games
was
that had
interesting.
a lot of really good character creation. In this game, there wasn't as much, like the hair, the eyebrows, and that kind of stuff. So
Joe
I'd
would
like to
have
see
wanted
them.
more curly hair.
Yeah, exactly.
I had
The
mentioned
actual
that lack
facial,
of curly hair.
the actual facial features that you could put on your character, though, that was pretty damn awesome. Mm-hmm. That was amazing.
So BioWare, if you're listening, we have a couple ideas. Give us a call.
Yes, we would actually be more than willing to help out. There's
Yeah.
tons that we can offer you.
Cuter clothes.
Okay. Very good. I just want my arm back. That's it.
You just want the interesting, just strap tops.
Yeah.
No, I want dresses and
Femininity.
skirts.
Yeah. No.
And for the boys too, have them wear kilts.
There you go.
Mages,
There you
robes,
go.
and
For me, really, all I want is my arm back. But that's it.
Oh yeah, can we get our arm back too?
Yeah. So that's all the time we have. It is a massive episode this month. There is more, so make sure you stay after the outro song for a little surprise we gathered for you. And until next month's podcast, I'm Mo.
And this is Joe.
Kyla Hopkins.
Paulina.
And we'll talk to you next time on the Mojoverse podcast. So me and Joe both really enjoyed the tavern songs from Dragon Age Inquisition, and one that we really did like was Sarah's song. So we decided to perform it for you guys. I'm playing the ukulele and Joe's singing. I am a musician, but I don't play the ukulele, and Joe's never had any singing experience. She's never taken any lessons or like that, but we thought it would be fun just to show you. So I hope you enjoy it. You can always send us some hate mail if you want to mojoversesudbury@gmail.com. You can check us out at Mojoverse Sudbury on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr. You can also get the podcast on YouTube, and you can also get it on any podcatching app because we do have an RSS feed. So I hope you enjoy the song.
Sarah was never an agreeable Her tongue tells tales of rebellion, but she was so fast and quick with her bow, no one quite knew where she came from. Sarah was never quite the quietest girl. Her attacks are loud and they're joyful, but she knew the ways of nobler men, and she knew how to enrage them. She would always like to say, why change the past when you can own this day? Today she will fight to keep her way. She's a rogue and a thief, and she'll tempt your fate. She would always like to say, why change the past when you can own this day? Today she will fight to keep her way. She's a rogue and a thief, and she'll tempt your fate. Sarah was never quite the wealthiest girl. Some say she lives in a tavern, but she was so sharp and quick with her bow. Arrows strike like a dragon. Sarah was never quite the gentlest girl. Her eyes are sharp like a razor, but she knew the ways of commoner men, and she knew just how to use them. She would always like to say, why change the past when you can own this day? Today she will fight to keep her way. She's a rogue and a thief, and she'll tempt your fate. She would always like to say, why change the past when you can own this day? Today she will fight to keep her way. She's a rogue and a thief, and she'll tempt your fate.